All right, we made it. How you doing, Mr. Diaz?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Good to hear. So, first and foremost, you got a big event going on this week at the HEP Center in Austin. I guess kind of give us to start a little bit of background on where you kind of got your start in comedy and how it all kind of began for you and when you figured this was kind of what you wanted to do.
I still don't know that it's what I want to do. Um, I started in Southeast Asia, in Thailand. I wanted to go see some comedy at a club next to my home, and I saw that they were doing a workshop that weekend to start, like to begin in comedy. And I did the workshop, and it was a lot of fun. And then I started doing open mics for fun, and I kept building from that.
Right. So overall, kind of give us a little bit of background about the scene where you're from. I know you've had plenty of grievances about how it is in Brussels. What what kind of can you from the source kind of could you tell us about what it's like doing comedy back home as compared to here in the States?
But I don't think that I have grievances that are exceptional or different from the ones you find in any scene. Um, there's in I'm, from what I'm seeing everywhere I'm going, there's always you know people that get opportunities you feel you should be getting, people that don't get opportunities that they should be getting. Clubs or venues that favor certain people over certain people. Um, it's always the same thing. It's always like the fun thing about comedy is always the same thing. The little petty competition and dumb stuff is always the same anywhere I go.
Yeah,
But
okay.
but being now based in Brussels, then I was more confronted to what I was seeing there than to what I was seeing somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think no matter what, it's this. It could you could speak different languages, but it's all gonna, you give somebody a little bit of power and what they want to do, they're gonna make just the decisions that are questionable, and it's like that
Yeah.
certainly here in Houston as well. What were you
Mm.
saying? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was just saying it's like that certainly in Houston as
Yeah.
well. We see a lot of that. We'll see a lot of people bump in, and on open mics, a lot of hosts will come up and do. They'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna do like 5 to 10 off the top," and then end up doing like 30. It's very frustrating, but I guess it's part of the game. No matter where you go.
Yeah. It is part of the game no matter where you go. I'm assuming some cities get worse than others because of how many comedians live there versus how many clubs or shows there are. So if it's very saturated, then it's a bit more. People get a bit more frustrated than when it's less saturated, and it's easier to organize shows or and get a crowd.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So I guess to kind of to go forward, and everything that's happening, take us, I guess, back to the day to when you made your first appearance on Kill Tony. What was it like going and signing up and just the process of before you got on? Have you been doing mics in Austin before, or was it sort of just by chance that everything kind of the
Yeah, I
cards
mean,
fell in
I,
the right place?
I initially traveled to Austin because, from what I could see from Europe, it seemed like quite an active scene with a lot of shows going on and open mics that were free to enter. Whereas in some other cities, you have to pay or you have to bring people, so it's more complicated to get to perform. So that's why I chose to come to Austin. But I was only in Austin for like a couple days before I got picked on Kill Tony. So I could see that it was quite complicated. The shows, some of the open mic shows will have 20 to 50 comedians. Um, You don't know when you're going on because people keep dropping in and out, or going long, and it was very frustrating. And then I got pulled out of the bucket on Kill Tony, and it went really well. And then the next day, even that same evening, people were already giving me spots and letting me cut in line at some open mics just because I had won the golden ticket.
Yeah, it is crazy, just how much things can change in a minute.
Yeah.
When you went up there, what was it like when you were because I know when I went up there recently, I felt like I was sort of in a dream sequence, I didn't feel like I was actually up there doing comedy. Did you feel sort of the similar sensation when you're up there in front of all these people?
I don't know that I would call it a dream, but it was definitely so sudden and unexpected that I was done with my set before I could even come to terms with what I was supposed to do. I was just like, okay, now you're getting picked, you're going up. Okay, you're next. Just wait here on this little cross. Then I'll open the curtain when it's your name. Then they said my name, then push me in, and you just walk a couple steps, and then you're out there. Like, so boom, 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 so fast, and then you do the interview, and okay, you're done. Okay, bye, done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so concise and compact. It feels like it's a lot longer when you're watching it back than it was when you were on.
Oh, on
What I
stage it
was
goes so fast.
Yeah, what I was surprised with when I went up at the mothership, because the first time was at Vulcan, but what
Yeah.
I was surprised with when I went up on Kill Tony at the mothership was that, you know, it's so small and
Yeah.
it looks so much bigger on YouTube. That was what shocked
Yeah,
me.
that's how I felt. That's how I felt. Like when you walk out on stage, it's like only like a couple steps you're at the front of the stage, right in the center. There's no, and before that, you're in some corridor with a completely different perception of space. I think when it was at Vulcan, from what I could see on YouTube, like you can see yourself coming in on stage and in the room.
Right.
So no, you know what you're walking towards and where you're gonna end up.
Yeah.
At Mothership, you're just behind a wall and behind a curtain, and then boom, you're in a different reality.
Yeah, it has the feel of a TV studio. I think
Mm.
what they were going for was trying to sort of make sort of a late night, I guess a late night feel to it because, like they have shows like David Letterman and all that around here and I like with a band and that's what I've always liked about
Mm.
it. But yeah, it went so well, and immediately I think Tony invited you to the crew show. Was it at the mothership over at a Little Boy, or was it a what was the show called that they invited you to?
Yeah, it's the show that happens right after the open mic on Sundays and Mondays. They have the open mic that you can sign up for, and right after that is the crew show, the crew and regular show of Mothership, and they will insert people in there that they want to see
Yeah.
at the
That
beginning
that
of the crew show. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few of my friends in comedy, like my friend Will Loden. He went up at the. He was also on. Because that day they filmed those two episodes back to back, and Will went up and he told the joke about Winston Churchill, and they invited him back to the crew show, and that's what I was. I like going up over there because the room is so cozy and it reverberates well.
Mm.
Uh, I know you performed yesterday at a Vulcan, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
and Creek in the Cave. What what's been sort of your favorite open mic to go to around the Austin area to kind of, I guess, knock the dust off or sort of get the words out more than
I mean,
anything.
I literally just flew in yesterday, so I did the secret show at Sunset.
Yep.
The room was absolutely packed. Then I did the show at Vulcan. That was went very well. And then uh, Xavier Cardona was running the open mic at Creek and the Cave, and I was gonna go there to hang out anyway. And he told me, "Well, if you wanna come up and do the open mic, just let me know." And then so I went up, did a few jokes that are work in progress or quite recent that I wanted to that I haven't had the opportunity to say much in America yet.
That's cool.
Um, I guess tonight I'll do some of the same. Favorite room to do open mics? I mean, as long as the sound is okay and there's a bit of a crowd that's not comedians, I'm happy.
Right.
I am not really. I went to check out this newish room called Black Rabbit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of that. And
But
that's
I arrived after the show was finished. So they were done
yeah.
for the night. But the room looks really good. Like the actual space, this basement space, it looks really tight and low ceiling, and I hear good things about it. So I'm curious to get to perform there at some point.
Yeah, and I'm sure, if everything kind of goes the way
Mm.
you hope it goes, you'll have more opportunities to kind of, I guess, go around Austin. Um, I guess kind of to go back a little bit to your time in Belgium and Thailand and, you know, over there on a different side of the globe. When it came to doing comedy, were you hitting up mics like every night when it over there? Was it is it difficult to get mic time on the on that
In
side of the country?
I mean, in Thailand, it's quite difficult to get stage time, but it is easy to get a lot of time when you get stage time. But before I left, it was up to, I'll say, at least 4 times a week.
Oh wow, yeah.
Um,
That's
and then- yeah, and in Belgium, it comes down to on average daily.
nice. That's
The
good.
Yeah, the difficulty in Brussels is that, I mean, first of all, there's less shows than here, but there are quite a few shows. What happens is the distances are big between shows. Yesterday, I did everything walking distance going from one room to the other, just walking 3 minutes up here, then 4 minutes that way. Then, it's so convenient.
Right, yeah. Much
In
like New
Brussels,
York,
you
I
have to
think.
like go fetch your car wherever that is, or your public transport, then go to the other venue, then walk from where you parked or where your public transport stop is to the next venue. If you make it, if you're lucky, you can do it, in 10, 15 minutes, but it adds up. So then it's 10, 15 minutes one way. So then both ways would be like 30 minutes if you have to come back to the same room that you were at. And then a lot of the shows are at the same time. There's very few or no late shows whatsoever. So almost all of the shows start between 8 and 8:30, sometimes at 9. But like
Right.
I run a dark humor show that's at 11 p.m., but that's
Nice.
maybe the only show in town that's at 11 p.m.
Yeah. That's cool. That kind of reminds me, you mentioned like go fetching your car and going from one place to
Mm.
another in Belgium. Here in Houston, it's very similar to that, because this city is so massive and so spread out. There's one mic and maybe downtown area, and then there'll be another mic like 30 minutes away,
Oh,
and you
wow.
have to drive from. It's very frustrating, and I feel like you can echo a little bit of that
Mm.
sentiment,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
that'll be that seems like it'll be a big sort of a big point of convenience to if everything works out and you're able to come to Austin full time, that you can just go from one mic to another and they're all on the same street. I
Yeah, they're on
guess
the
the
same
question,
street, and once you reach, I'm not there yet, but like I'm closer than other people to getting there. Once you reach a certain status, and I'm saying status more than quality of your comedy, right? Because
yeah,
that's
100%.
but status. People will let you just drop in at mics, which makes sense. Like you earn that kind of thing. So once you get to the point where you can drop in at open mics just to test, and then you mix that in with some showcase spots that you have, then you can do a showcase spot. and then just go next door to do an open mic, then go to your next showcase spot, then go do another open mic, and then maybe do even another open mic. So maybe it's not that hard to do 4 to 5 shows a night here in Austin.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not sure it's what everybody wants to do, but like from, let's say, from the moment you leave your home to getting home, back home to sleep, you can put in more shows with less energy spent than in other cities for sure.
yeah, and that's got to be really convenient, you know.
Mm.
Here in Houston, I feel like I can do one mic at most a day, and then on Fridays and Saturdays, it's kind of a chance because there's no real open mics. Do you do you see that sort of in Austin that Friday and Saturdays are kind of showcase days, or is it more or less it's become so popular that you can kind of go anywhere and get stage time?
A bit of both, but I would say that's more showcasey towards the weekend. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So I guess we've talked about the process and everything. The
Yeah,
big everybody is really hyped for this weekend. And you know,
good.
it's a big deal. And
I don't know.
it's a big deal. Trust me. I on Reddit and all these places, these people are they're almost taking bets. So obviously, you know, you came in sort of like a comet. You came in blazing. Or do you worry a little bit? Is there a nervousness performing on such a grand stage here in Austin, like so quickly? Because I know you're only 4 years in, you're still sort of new to it. I guess considering compared to other people, is there a bit of nervousness going on and doing this massive event?
uh, I mean, of course. What? The biggest room I've done was like 300 to 400 people, um, back home, kind of, not far from home at least. Um, this is a completely different scale, completely different stakes. You know,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
when I do shows in Europe, I don't have people on Reddit, telling me that I suck or that I should bury and end somebody else before I go on
Yeah,
stage, like so. But on the other hand, I'm so excited and proud that I kind of like was able to put myself in the situation to get this opportunity. So
absolutely.
I'm very nervous and scared and I don't want to bomb and I've been working as hard as I could. But I also want it to happen. I want to do it.
Yeah, and I could tell, and that's something that's you should be proud of, obviously, regardless of what happens. You've built such a I guess some tape that you could show people. You mentioned kind of on Reddit and all that. That's got to be kind of annoying to have to deal with seeing sort of these comments of people that don't know you and have sort of ideas like these
Se-
stupid things to say.
several friends of mine, who have been in comedy for similar amounts of time as I have, so maybe a little more, maybe a little less, were just telling me, dude, I wish I could get half of the hate you're getting. Like, give me all you, I'll take it. So I understand, in a way. I'm lucky to have it. I understand it's part of growing, but it hasn't been a slow burn. I went from nothing and just being chill and quiet to just the polar opposite of, you know, a bunch of people having my name typing my name wrong online.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. There's no
Oh,
K.
and also rewarding. Like, I get also so many messages of support, of people who say they love me. So like the real positive outcome of all of this is all of the people that like my humor, who enjoy my style, and what I do. And thanks to Kill Tony, they've been able to find me.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
that's the yeah, the positives outweigh the negatives, I'm sure.
oh, so far, yes, yes, definitely. What I don't agree on is when people tell me, like on the days where I get some really nasty message or something, people tell me, "Well, you signed up for it." I'm like, "No, man, you don't. I didn't sign up for it. You don't. You can't understand the scale of what's gonna happen. You're just. I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna do this challenge. It seems like a brilliant idea in my head. I will say this: if I had known where I was gonna be now, I would definitely go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't change anything either, being a guy that got on. I'm not quite to the scale you guys have got, but as a guy that's got on and heard, "Oh, you don't really have autism," and all that, it doesn't. I mean, I'd still do the same thing,
Well, if you're
a
autistic,
hundred
they're gonna
percent.
say you don't have autism, and if you're not autistic, they're gonna accuse you of having it.
Yeah, there's no win. It's a lose lose situation regardless. So you know but obviously, like I said, with this everything going on here at the with your challenger Hans Kim, I wanted to kind of ask, what's the vibe been like between you two off stage? I know that you guys have immense, or at least you have immense respect for Hans. From what I've heard on Kill Tony, you've praised him. Has the vibe been different, or has it been sort of the same?
I mean, I haven't seen him since I left back home, and I've only been here one day, so I haven't seen him yet, and I don't expect that I'll see him before the show.
Yeah. Do you think
So
they
in
do
terms
that
of the
kinda
vibe,
intentionally?
sorry.
Do you think they do that intentionally? They kinda keep y'all separate a little bit, or has it just been scheduling?
I mean, I was only able to fly here yesterday. That's my decision.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, and the shows I've done, I mean, he was on the secret show as well. We could have crossed paths there yesterday. I don't mind. I don't, I understand. Like, I'm not gonna respect him less today than I did prior to me challenging him. I who do you want to challenge? Do you want to when you do you want to challenge the toughest guy or the guy that you feel is the strongest, or do you want to challenge the person you feel is the weakest, or the person you feel your style matches worst against?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that,
If you want to challenge someone, of course, that's.
yeah. If
But
I
yeah,
was to challenge anybody, I feel like I'd have to challenge the person I look the most like and the person I'm the most similar to,
yeah.
but I would never do that,
But it's
and we all
also
kinda know.
it was also a question of timing. I feel for one to be able to do a challenge on Kill Tony, you need to be able to be known by the show a little bit,
Yeah,
and some regular needs to have had a bad week.
right.
And so while I was here, having all of these consecutive shows, I know I have a flight to leave, and who's having bad sets that week that is challengeable? It was Hans also. Like, it was also, you know, opportunity was there for me to do that. The opportunity was there. I don't know that they would have let me challenge Cam or William at
Right.
the same time, regardless of whether it would be a better or more difficult or easier or more interesting matchup.
Yeah.
You know?
And and not to mention they had been pitting Hans against other comics before, so I
Yeah.
get exactly what you mean,
Mm.
you know. And I honestly, I don't know if I ever went up again and went up on Kill Tony and did another minute. I don't know if I would want to challenge anybody. That would be so crazy. I mean, they would have to pit me again. So that was very brave of you to go up there and
Oh,
say, I
I was nervous. I wasn't. I didn't. Like, It was a. I had to overcome a lot of fears to express that on stage.
yeah.
for sure.
Is comedy sort of your way of kind of getting over certain fears you had prior to starting comedy, or has it always been
I
something you
didn't.
wanted to do?
I did not start comedy to overcome any fears. I started doing comedy out of just I was interested in stand up. I had always been watching stand up, and I just thought it would be something that could be fun to do. So I never thought about, oh, I'm gonna overcome this or that. And I was like, I'm gonna meet friends, I'm gonna write, I'm gonna play with words, and it's gonna be interesting. But as started doing comedy, it's helped me with many things, and it's helped me build confidence, and it's helped me definitely overcome certain fears for sure.
Yeah, I feel that. So
Yeah,
it's not just English you do comedy in too.
yeah.
Do you do comedy in French? I think is you mentioned.
French and Spanish, but I would say, I mean, Spanish very little just because of opportunity, and in French,
Yeah,
it's the language where I've been performing the most, I would say.
that's got to be cool though. Like,
Mm.
you feel like that would be a good selling point to say, oh, if I were to do comedy overseas and I'm in a place that speaks predominantly French, I can use that to kind of relate to the crowd more.
Yeah, well, I'm curious to. I haven't been there yet, but I'm definitely curious to test in Canada
Yeah,
with
that
that.
that kind of reminds me of like a band that has a French singer and they could sing their songs in French when that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, I guess to kind of, put a bow on it, this is sort of the to wrap it up a little bit. This is a big deal, and if you are able to win this showdown, or this, I guess, this matchup that you have against Hans and become the regular, moving to Austin full time, that's got to be quite an adjustment. How have you sort of do you have like a plan of where you're gonna stay when you come here and everything? How's that been
No,
going? Has that been difficult?
that's not how I think. That's not how I do anything anymore. I don't plan ahead. I've stopped doing that a while back. I only plan up to the next task. I'm assuming if I lose, that doesn't mean I stop having opportunities in the US. If I win, then there's more pressure on my calendar, let's say. But and of course the exposure will be bigger if I have to see what happens if I win. But I'm only gonna worry about the problems that are gonna arise from winning or losing when I win or lose, and then take it on from there up to the next challenge in my career.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a
for
good
me
way of
to
looking
be,
at it.
I don't want to look beyond something that I have no control over.
Absolutely. Yeah, that could definitely really affect your psyche, and you think too much into the future, it could really screw things up. One more from Rick, one of
Yeah,
our commenters. He says, "What's the appeal with low ceilings?" He wanted to know because we've heard a lot about it with Tony and Red Band kind of having
mm,
their thing where he called the Sunset Strip ceilings too high. I guess I'm kind of wondering that as well.
they're very high. But Red Band was actually correct that they are also incredibly high at Mothership. They're at least in the big room where they filmed Kill Tony. Um, the appeal of low ceilings is there's to me it's the same as if the appeal of having dark walls and a dark room. The lower the ceiling and the darker the light, the more compressed the energy is. It has an effect on how sound projects. So when people laugh, you know the sound waves have less distance to travel before they
Right.
bounce back into the room. So you're gonna get louder laughs in a tighter space.
Yeah.
Then there's something about humans being packed, like just next to each other, as opposed to having a lot of space in between them, that that creates a bit of a discomfort that also helps the intensity of the show. And also the light is important. If it's too dark and you can't see anything, there's a bit of a you can't really. But some people love it. I heard that Louis C.K. loved it like that. Just he doesn't want to see the crowd at all. I like to see it a little bit, just a few rows in, so I can maybe do some crowd work, and it's
Yeah.
easy where I see where I'm talking, who I'm talking to. But when there's too much light, people feel vulnerable. They feel judged when they laugh at something that they shouldn't be laughing at somehow. Like some
Yeah, that
people are
makes
like,
sense.
oh, like if I laugh at this, the people around me, like my coworkers that I came with or whoever, like they're gonna see me laughing at this hysterically, so maybe I shouldn't be laughing at it that hard. There's a bit of a, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people in the audience will be waiting to laugh or hesitant and not laugh as loud if you have a
Mm.
joke that's especially dark, I'd imagine. So, but no, that's all very interesting. But so I can't wait. I hope this goes well. I wish you the best of
Me
luck,
too.
obviously. Yeah.
I
And
hope it goes well for sure.
I feel like regardless though, you've earned your golden ticket. You've sort of kind of found a way, and that's very admirable to come from a different country to the United States, a country I'd assume. Have you been here before you came to Brussels?
You mean in the U.S.? Yes, numerous times. Yeah, but not
That's
for
cool.
comedy. Just I visited the country quite a few times.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
just to start and from nothing and to be where you are is very admirable, and
I have
we all
the,
certainly. Oh, go
the,
ahead.
I have many comedian friends back home who know Kill Tony and who felt like I was, fulfilling a dream that they had
Yeah,
for them because they were like, "Oh, I know him. I actually physically know him. I was at a mic with him yesterday,
yeah,
and now he's there and he's doing that." And they've told me this for almost word for word, and now like I can see my like I can like you're showing us a path that we could take. I mean, maybe not
right.
necessarily win a
Yeah,
golden ticket, but it's like we are doing comedy that's good, because we see each other regularly, so we know who's funnier. You know what I mean?
right. Absolutely.
And we know
Yeah,
who's on track, and they're like, no, like he okay, nobody's saying I'm not funny, but they know where they are, and they're like, okay, no, the work I'm putting in here does have worth because now we can benchmark it thanks to you
yeah. That's
because
got to
you're
be
out there
cool
killing.
too.
That means
Yeah,
because we don't know. That's why I came here. It's like, am I funny by standards of Austin? Am I good enough?
yeah,
And
yeah,
now, but you have to test it. You have to actually do it. You can't just think you are or you're not.
yeah. Well, I think you've certainly proven that you've got a lot of great setup punch jokes that I really enjoy. I like the cohesiveness of it, and I think that many people also resonate with that. And I think that that is cool to be the benchmark for people in your country. To give somebody a way to you know I guess, make something of all the time they spent at all the open mics. That is really neat. So,
No, it's
certainly
been
wish.
very touching. It's been very touching.
Yeah,
I didn't do this for that, but I'm glad it worked out that way, and it's helping people out. It's also helping, and this is not me. It's not about throwing flowers at myself and just like, but from the feedback I'm getting, I can see that some mics are feel prouder of organizing the mic now that they have someone, not necessarily me, who has some status abroad and on some shows, and they can be like, well, no, but that guy that's doing this is coming out of our mics.
yeah.
So when I go there and I do
No,
the mic, they're like, no, no, see this guy, like he's bombing in front of you, but bombing here is what's helping people like us do what he's doing, and we're also gonna get there, and you should respect what we're doing. You know?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the same way in Houston. Like a lot of these mics when I went on, they were all like, "Wow, we can what all the sets that we do that don't work out so well, if we keep at it and make these sets better, then we can kind of be in a similar situation." And it it is humbling to kind of go up there and see people that tell you that they liked your set and get a lot of support from people that you don't know as well. So
Yeah,
again, I wish you all the luck, and I
thank you.
can't wait to see what the future holds for you, regardless of this. And if anything, you I'd imagine y'all had a great time doing all this, and just the journey has been incredible.
It's all about, for me, it's all about creating, making my life into a little adventure that I can, be proud of, in terms of saying, I tried to do this. I went ahead and at least gave it a shot, as opposed of just sitting at home and as I used to. No, it's not like
Yeah,
as I used to, and just thinking, well, if I did it, it would go this way or it would go that way, or I would never be able to. Not just get out of my couch, get out of my home, and actually try to do it, and fail or not fail. People ask me whether I'm ready or confident for this weekend. I've written jokes that kill at clubs. That's all I know. The jokes I'm going
yeah,
to say are jokes that are good jokes, but
right.
can they live up to the expectation of all of these people with all of this buildup? I have no clue. Are they going to be better than Hans's jokes? I have no clue. Does it matter at all whether my jokes are better than his, when the crowd is going to decide who won? I have no idea. Those are things I do not control. What I control is I'll go on stage. I'm definitely going up on that stage, no matter how nervous I am, no matter how scared I'll be. I'll get on there. I'll say the bloody jokes, and we'll see what
Yep.
happens after.
Yeah, you can't win if you don't play, and you've
Yeah,
earned at least a shot, and that's all anybody can ask for is a shot.
yeah, and I've
Thank you
I've
so
earned a
much. Oh,
massive
go ahead.
shot. I've earned a massive
Yeah,
shot. It's a
absolutely.
once in a lifetime shot that they've been very kind to give me.
Yeah, that's got to be good, having
Yeah.
Tony Hinchcliffe, a guy that's one of the premier writers in comedy, on your corner. So again, we wish you all the luck, and thank you so much for jumping on and as Ric Flair would say, donating your time. I'm really excited to see where it goes, and yeah, this has been the main entree with Sadman Rick,
Thank
also
you
known
so
as
much.
Rick Diaz. Of course, thank you. Have a good one.
Take care. Thank you for having me over, and let's see what happens. Thank you,
Absolutely. Is that
and good
before
luck
we
to you.
go, is there anything? Thank you. I appreciate it. Is there
Yes.
anything you want to sort of like plug, like your IG or where some of your shows are?
Yeah, 100%. I have shows coming up in Houston, in San Antonio, in Dallas, in Fort Worth, while I'm here in the US. I'd love to sell all of those out. Definitely have shows at comedy at Hyenas in Fort Worth and in Dallas,
Nice. Yeah, I heard of that place.
um,
Yeah.
towards the end of January. All the dates and the ticket links are in the link tree on my Instagram. So if you just go to
Right.
my Instagram at sadmanrick and you click on the link tree at the top in my bio, you can see all of the shows I have coming up that have ticket sales. And just please come see me. It'd be great. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring some good friends over, and we're gonna have a good show.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be cool. I didn't know you had a show at Houston. Is it going to be at the Riot?
I'm gonna do the riot. Yes.
Nice, nice. Well, I'll stop by. Well,
Uh,
that's awesome to hear.
yeah.
Make sure I got some friends in Houston. I'll make sure that they come with me. So that'll be fun. So
Well,
thank
yeah.
you so much.
My memory is a bit screwed up, so I don't know all the dates, but everything's on my link tree, and it's all in January.
For sure. Yeah, I'll check it out. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Diaz. Have a good
Thank you,
one.
sir.
Happy New Year, and have a good time here in the United States.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.